One. All right, welcome to Anchor in the Buoy. We got a new setup today. If you can't tell, looking at your screen or listening in your audio, we're in the ocean. We're in the deep ocean here.
I can never tell what we're doing because you selfishly hog it all onto your monitor.
Selfishly hog it all on my monitor. Yeah, basically we got a new little gizmo gadget to help us with our podcasting
and we just
and
got
our streaming.
So
yeah. Anyways,
there's nothing more demoralizing than realizing you're too old for something.
Yeah.
And just feeling like you're so far behind the curve of up-to-date technology that you're like, I don't even know if I can teach myself this.
Well, this was super frustrating because, like, I have familiarity with audio-visual products, but my information's like 15 years old. So Wirecast was
your
a thing that satellite providers were using and actual like cable channels, not podcasts. They weren't using that stuff. Well, I'm blown away by what you can do with it.
It used to be you just grabbed a little Canon handheld, and all you had to have was a USB stick.
Just your webcam.
Your webcam, and you would just record. And not the case, because now it. So it's a great thing. It's an amazing thing. But it just kind of sucks at the same time. It's amazing because you don't need a producer anymore. You don't need to take your content to a news network or to a TV network or anything like that. You literally you can get the software you need. You can get the audio and video hardware that you need.
It's easy.
You could start your own television show for $100,000.
Swallow that thing.
Dude, okay, we need new mics then. I'm not even that far away from it. I'm not even a fist. That's a fist. I'm not even a fist away from it.
Yeah, you're sounding okay. But you have a tendency to get away. So I'm just saying what someone commented on YouTube. Suck that thing up.
Well,
so
we're going to just stop all that right now.
Now you're going to be all loud.
We're stopping that right now.
Turn you down.
Is it too loud? Is that better?
That's good right there.
That's good right there? I'll make sure I sit at a 90-degree angle, and
it's got to be right on it.
For the next hour, I won't relax at all.
So you went to Leavenworth last week.
Yeah, it's a Bavarian town. I think Bavarian is German, or it's Middle European.
Bavarian? I think it's Bavarian. From Bavaria?
Well, what's Bavaria?
I think Austria. Sounds right.
Is it a city in Austria?
I think it's a region. I think it's a region in Germany, Austria.
They eat all the same bases that we do: potatoes, meat, sausage, things like that. But they cook it differently. So I ordered a German potato salad.
Okay.
It's potato and bacon and onions cooked, like stir fried. So I liked it, but I was expecting cold potato salad. So they need to write not American potato salad, like not cold.
Was it hot?
It was meant to be hot. It was a hot dish.
Oh, I love hot potato salad. That's funny.
You mean you like potatoes with onions and bacon?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
I was introduced to potato salad hot, so that must be a German thing then.
Must
to have it warm because I like it. Yeah, it's like having.
Don't call it potato salad.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
But same ingredients, right? Just the
I make it all the time. Yeah. I had it 4 times the last 4 days. I make it at home.
Have you heard about using potatoes, doing the hot and cold, so that you get the what's it called? The gut biome.
Like doing what with the potato?
So you cook your potatoes however you cook them, and then you put them in the fridge. And when you put them in the fridge, when you reheat them, they're just not quite the same.
Yeah.
So what happens is that they're
like drier.
Yeah, but so there's actually something happening. What happens is the starch gets reduced, and it becomes more and more like celery. It becomes fiber. It just becomes.
So it's better after it's reheated.
Well, as far as a diet's concerned, yeah, there's not as much nutrition or starch in there. But anyways, Joe Rogan had a guy on. He talked about that was a big thing they were doing to make his patients lose weight. Was they would reheat their potatoes and eat until they were absolutely full. But you're essentially getting to the point where you're just eating, like.
So it's like eating salad, but palatable.
Well, potatoes get pretty unpalatable after a while when you're just eating because you can't add. It's not baked potato with sour cream. It's just the potato.
But salads are unpalatable from the first bite when you're starving to death.
For you,
I haven't eaten all day. Well, let me get a salad. Like
No, I said I wanted to eat.
8 bites into it, and you're like, oh, God, I don't want any more of this slop.
So you know what my thing is with soup? Every time I come home and my wife's made soup, she'll be like, "Oh, I made soup." I'll be go, "Oh, that's awesome. What's for dinner?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "What do you mean I made the soup?" I said, "Soup's an appetizer. What's for dinner?"
Yeah, appetizer.
She gets so mad,
Dude,
man.
soup's not a meal.
an appetizer.
Seinfeld would beg to differ, but Ben, you got the large bowl of soup. That's not a meal. You owe me a meal, Jerry. Armani suit.
So when he did that, think about, I mean, obviously they played it out on the sitcom, but it's so inconsiderate. He went out to dinner with another man and then didn't use the dinner card. Like, just being there is the dinner.
I've never taken another man to, like, quote unquote dinner. Like, just me and him. Like, we got dinner because the situation we were in called for us going to get something to eat because it was nighttime and we were hungry.
Oh, you've had plans before that included going out to eat.
We've
had plans.
When
like
have
that,
me
I'm
and
sure.
you made a plan in the evening to go get dinner?
Some random Friday
Never.
night?
You can't even name one
some
time.
random Friday night where we went to B-dubs together? You don't call that planned?
Yeah, after work. Yeah, not like, hey, I'm going to go home and shower and...
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's inconsiderate of Banyan. Just the act of going was the dinner, let alone the swordfish or whatever he ordered, the soup.
Yeah, you got the soup.
I'll save my dinner for later, Jerry.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you eat it now.
You ever watch Friends?
I started watching it a few weeks ago with my wife. Not super into it.
It's not the worst.
Yeah.
I would say I like Cougar Town, which is basically Courtney Cox and
It's Friends in Florida.
There's Friends in Florida, but way better.
Yeah. I watched like the first 3 seasons, maybe 4 seasons of Cougar Town. It was good.
Every now and then there's a show I come across that I really like, and I can't explain why. Like, I don't give shows their fair shake ever. Any show. It just doesn't get a fair shake from me. So if you don't impress me on the first episode, sayonara.
Do you know what the funniest thing is? I have had a handful of shows that I have loved, like have become my top favorite shows that didn't grab me on the first episode.
Like what?
Game of Thrones was one. Game of Thrones, that Revolution or Evolution show you turned me on to, that became a favorite of mine.
The first episode was good. But by the time it was all over, like because they got canceled.
Yeah,
it was like,
story
all
didn't quite
right,
wrap up right.
it's
Yeah.
petering out. You're telling me there's jets involved now? They're flying from Texas to other parts with jets. We got jets. I thought there was no electricity. How you got jets?
Well, they had the helicopters. What it was? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they need electricity.
They had that little thing that turned off the nanobites in the air.
I'll tell you what.
weird.
That is an original idea, I think, of how the end of the world happens.
Yeah, that was an interesting show. One I didn't get into was that Jericho one. Did not get into Jericho.
Dude, I loved it. That's the one with the atomic bomb.
Yeah, I got like 4 episodes in and it just didn't get me.
Yeah. I gave up Walking Dead, and I'm going to come back to it, but what is it, man? Is it me? Is it me as a consumer? Do I just get bored with them? Are they still like amazing writers and amazing actors, or is it them and they just like they found a system to make money and they've played it 6, 7, 8 seasons in a row and the system has been the same the whole time? It's just been hey, let's build this plug and play type thing and let's just run with it until people are sick of it.
So when I started watching it and I found out about the comic books, I started getting into I shouldn't say getting into the comic books, but I would read ahead in the story by finding out what the comic books said the next, section of adventure was or where they were headed. And they followed the comic books, give or take, for a long time. But it got to a point, I'm not sure exactly when. I think it was when Michonne became a main character and the blonde girl that went and became a girlfriend to the governor. She becomes Rick's girlfriend, not Michonne. But they killed her off. And that was like all of a sudden, that was the first time I remember that it was like, oh, the characters aren't going to be the same. Like now we don't even have the same characters.
That's good though. They'll throw you off so you can't read ahead.
No, that's fine if that was their intent. But then the story, see, that's the thing. The comic books were a hit. The movie's not becoming so much of a hit in its last season.
I've learned a lot about myself from
story's
Walking
just
Dead.
not right.
Walking Dead has taught me that I place too much value on the outcomes of other people's actions than my own. Like when Rick and the whole gang got caught at the end of season 5 or into season 6, when they were looking for Maggie to get to the hospital or whatever, I was like, it tore me apart because I was like, first, Rick is so smart when it comes to this type of warfare. He was in law enforcement. That was his career. He's not going to allow them to get pinch point into a ambush. He just wouldn't do it. The first roadblock they came to, he'd be like, oh, this is unfortunate because we're in the zombie apocalypse. I see this shit all the time. But then the second roadblock and then the third roadblock, it's like, let's pull a map out and see where they're leading us.
But see, he knew that. That's why he kept looking. The shots kept going to his face of disappointment and looking at Maggie going, we should fight through the first roadblock. The first roadblock, they should have just punched through.
Well, here's the thing.
Right?
So you don't
each
punch
one
through.
got bigger and bigger.
You don't punch through on the first roadblock. After the second roadblock, you're like, okay,
You go back to the first roadblock.
something's
and
actually
punch
going
through?
on here. So now we need to retreat, and now we need to flank one of these roadblocks. You got the black chick with the AR-15 or the AR-10, just like with the scope on it, so you know she could snipe from at least a few hundred yards away, at least. I don't know how good she was, but in the comic or in the movie, it looked like she could shoot shit from 1,000 yards away.
Sure.
So you would have her and probably 2 other members of that RV crew go to flank that first roadblock because they only had like 4 guys or whatever.
Yeah.
As they're flanking, they're going to immediately go to their flank, and then you do a full-on frontal assault. And you might lose someone. You might, but no one's life in that RV is guaranteed anyways. It's a zombie apocalypse. Like, you know who I am? I'm Shane, and I'm already dead. It's
You are Shane. You're already
It's
dead.
season 1, and someone already stabbed me in the freaking stomach because I was trying to take their woman.
It's season 1, and I'm already dead.
I'm already dead, so why am I even talking?
So what you got to do is, you know who I am? I'm Shane.
I'm dead. I'm being too logical about the decisions and cold-hearted about them.
See, Shane was like, Rick's dead. Take her as girl. When Rick came back, Shane was like, I'll kill Rick.
Well, see, but I never really think he was.
They got
going
over
to.
him the first time. They'll get over him the second.
Yeah, his wife was such a whore.
Dude, that
It bugged the hell out of
I
me.
can't. She was in another show that what show was she in? She was in another show that I liked, and she ruined it for me. Same thing. Same freaking typecast.
Let's take emotion out of it and be. Let's just dissect what she did. It's the end of the world. She needs someone to help take care of her and Carl. She turns right to the person that she knows intimately already. It's Rick's
I'm
best
not going
friend.
to take up for her. I'm not taking up for her.
I am because she thought Rick was dead. So
I understand.
However, the timeline is what messes with me.
I
The
understand.
timeline. It was only been like what, a month, 2 months, and they're on the run, and she's already hooked up with another dude.
A week. He was in the hospital for a week.
A week. I mean, I remember it being so short term that I was like, "You're already with another dude."
It was that. So that's where I had
The scene where he bends her over and does her doggy style in the woods. I'm like, "You're already over Rick."
dude.
Like, it was so passionate.
The whole thing. When it happens, you're not sure of the time frame, but later he was only out a week, not even a whole.
He
week.
wasn't getting food or water in the hospital, so he couldn't have been out that
He was
long.
no. It was like what's his name was with him, and then they got evacuated. So he told his wife he died or he was taken out
because he
right?
tried to get him out, and the zombies were in there.
Yeah, and he just assumed he wasn't.
He
gonna
went
make
ahead
it.
and barricaded the door and left.
Yeah. So, but he was only there. It was days, a day or 2, 3. But like, if you go through the entire timeline, he hooked back up with his family like 8 days after he was out.
Let's just call it a
if,
month.
Even if you pushed it out to like 2 weeks, 2 weeks is pushing it. Maybe a month. Okay, a month. Too soon.
A month.
Too soon.
I could see her getting with Shane, just not having sex with him, but like rearing up to him because she already knew him intimately. It was Rick's best friend, so it was in lieu her best friend.
Yeah.
I mean, by proxy, it's her best friend too.
Yeah. Dude.
Either way. So anyways, I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I get emotionally invested in the outcome of other people's actions. So when the Seahawks lost to the Patriots, and I know I'm talking 4 years ago now, I'm still hung up on it. I'm hung up on it because it was like traumatic for me.
Dang, the Patriots have won 2 Super Bowls since then.
Dude, I hate those guys so much.
Or been to 2? Have they just been to 2? Has it only been 3?
My hatred is turned towards the Seahawks. I'll tell you that right now. Hatred.
Really?
For what happened at that Super Bowl, my anger, my hatred, my sadness, I have turned it all towards Pete Carroll.
Towards Pete?
Yeah.
Why?
He's a good guy, but what is he doing?
Is it Pete or John Snyder? Or just the flat out nature of the contracts?
It's the nature of the game.
We're keeping Russ, right? He got his contract extension.
I don't know, but I'm assuming. I wouldn't have really imagined he was going to the Giants. I think that was just clickbaity stuff.
Well, maybe clickbaity, but my understanding was he said he wanted a contract by a certain time or else.
Well, if you're Russell Wilson and you know you're a decent quarterback, like I wouldn't you say Russell Wilson's better than Jay Cutler? Wouldn't you say he's better than?
I'm a huge fan of Russell Wilson.
He's a good quarterback, and so it makes me wonder why Carroll just can't give him a white. All they need is one good guy on the offensive line, just one. Just give him a good center to give him a second of protection before he has to dish the ball. He had decent wide receivers the whole time up until.
Do you know what's so
hard?
They call football the ultimate team sport. It is so hard because you're like even just saying that. Just give me one good offensive line. It's like
we don't have the money for it.
We don't have the money for it. Well, why don't we have the money for it? Because of your contract, because of his contract. Like you look at all these players that are like. What if you had a great offensive line, but you didn't have a good safety, or you didn't have a good wideout, or you didn't have a good cornerback, or you did, it's like you need every position. Like every position ends up being pretty critical, with a few of them being more critical than others. But like, this is just the weakness. The way the salary cap is you just end up, because you got 30 teams, so there's 30 centers, and 15 of them are better than the other 15.
How do you explain the Patriots then? Do you just basically say it doesn't matter who plays there as long as Bill Belichick's the coach, they're going to win? I don't believe Brady's the GOAT. I just don't believe he's talented. Like, I don't believe he physically has talents. I think he's cool as a cucumber under pressure.
That might be all you need.
That's all. That is all he's got. The dude, I mean, he's just. I think it's Bill Belichick. I think it's the coach holding it together.
Well, yeah, for sure. But also it could have something to do with their system, too. What kind of system do they play? Do they play a system that requires talent, or do they play a system that requires teamwork?
They play a system that requires Tom Brady to dish the ball to someone with so much more skill than he has.
So
that they end up doing all the work.
So in college football, I'm sure people are listening and saying, no, it's not that way. But this is my understanding of college football, so it's my understanding. But my understanding of college football is because you don't have the 30 best athletes at that position, you're dealing with, hundreds of schools and thousands of athletes. You'll get when you have a NFL caliber player, like say you have a running back, he tears it up. That school goes almost undefeated.
Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence then that Nick Saban takes Alabama every year and they win? Or is it that Nick Saban just has NFL quality?
It's both. With Nick Saban, it's both. Because he plays a system. He coaches a real team. But he also, because he's coaching Alabama and he has a track record, he gets the A-plus recruits.
Okay, then what about all their close competitors that don't beat Alabama?
Well, they're in the SEC, so they're getting a little bit of both too.
Well, you got to say it's the coach then, because they're all getting NFL draft.
You got to coach what you got to have. But what I'm saying is, like BSU, for example, had a really good coach with almost no good players.
None.
Like very few.
Never had a good.
A couple linemen got drafted.
Did they ever have a good player? No. The whole 10 years that they were having a winning streak.
So there's a great example of a coach who coaches a system.
And now he's here at Washington, and he's taking Washington places.
And he's taking Washington places, yeah. And he's getting a little bit better recruiting because we're in the pack and not in the whack. And so, but when it comes to the NFL, you've got a talent surplus. Everybody is the most talented guy. Mm-hmm. So unless you have someone that's like a GOAT, like a wide receiver that's running a 40 half second faster than his. You just don't see the mismatches because you're just such an elite.
Everyone's
caliber.
running a 4.3 to a 4.5.
Yeah, everybody's just right there. So then it becomes about how does the system work and how do you lock into that system because you don't have the talent over dysfunction like you do in college. So I don't know, man. I mean, like. That's the thing. Like you gotta have a strong offensive line, but you gotta have good cornerbacks.
They're all playing with the same talent, though, in the NFL is what you're saying because they're all high caliber.
Well, no, because that's where the money comes in. So you get one team that plays with a good offense, and then they just let defense is their. We're just gonna high score our games. They have to play the money because you can't get.
So look at the Lakers. Now let's go over to basketball and look at the Lakers. So Magic Johnson stepped down as the president of the Lakers because. He is unable to do recruiting as the president. There's a lot of laws against who he cannot contact other players under contract.
Yeah.
So he wasn't able to fulfill his position as president for two reasons. One, he really didn't want to, I don't think.
Well, he also owns the Dodgers.
Yeah, but he's a billionaire, and so he wasn't doing what a
There's only 542 billionaires in the United States. Are you sure he's one of them? Tiger Woods is not even a billionaire yet. He got close, then he got divorced.
Magic Johnson, I guess I should start, is Magic Johnson a billionaire? It's on Google search. Magic Johnson's net worth is $600 million. Okay, he's not a billionaire.
Okay. He's rich. He's rich.
He's rich. So
I'll take $1 million.
So he's got a net worth of $600 million. He's probably got cash of 100 or something like that, or maybe 50.
I mean, bet he's got cash of $1 million. I bet he's 600 million. I bet you between Dodgers, people just don't run around with that much cash. That's all I'm saying. Whenever, I bet he's got $1 million cash.
All the time.
Yeah, sure. Revolving account.
Every month he gets
He's not sitting with $10 million just earning money market interest in the bank.
No, but
he might have it in stocks.
He's got $600 million net worth. I'm willing to bet he's got 10% of that in cash.
All right, you're way better off. You're giving him way more credit than I
bet he's got $60 million
in cash. His cash holdings are $60 million,
or very quick liquidable assets.
I want to come back to the Lakers thing, but I want a perspective thing. Do you really think someone with that much money would park that much money?
That much money or that much net worth?
Both.
Do I think someone with that much net worth would hold on to that much cash
and not earn money with it somewhere else? You can't spend that much money.
Yep.
What is the point of having that much cash?
He may not hold on to it, but it's probably very easily liquidable.
Okay, no, totally different. Liquid. Stocks,
it could
bonds,
be stocks.
That's
it
liquid.
Could be stocks. He could literally go on. He can go on Experian.com and sell his stocks with a click of a mouse. And in 48,
I need to make this distinction.
Okay, cash in the bank
is cash.
Sure.
Liquid investments are liquid investments.
Okay,
but
he's got $100 million in liquid investments.
Okay, that's totally
he's
different.
Got $200 million tied up in the Dodgers.
Whenever people say cash and it's a big number, I'm like, oh, you don't think he's very smart because there's no way. Even if he just sat it in the stock market,
I understand what you're
Edwards
saying.
Jones account.
You're not bringing something new to me.
Okay,
I'm assuming he's got that much money available to him in the next 48 hours.
Okay,
or a week, or however long it. If you sold $600 million of stocks, not saying it's all in stocks, just
it's all Dodgers. I bet you.
Sure, but if you had $600 million in the stock market, they're probably going to take a week or two to get you the money. It probably doesn't just verify like that. Anyways, So he was the president, and he was reportedly not doing any of the activities that a president does. And they were saying either he wasn't doing them or he was doing them differently because he wasn't going on the road. He wasn't doing the scouting he was supposed to do, etc. So he steps down. So the thought is he has stepped down as president, but he hasn't stepped down from the organization. He's probably stepping down so he can actually go recruit to his ability.
Okay.
And his ability is his name. He can go to other people with contracts now legally and promise them a contract, and they'll just seamlessly go from one contract to the Lakers. All right, my contract's up in 2 years. In 2 years, I'm going to sign another one with the Lakers. So he's probably stepped down so he could do some better recruiting. They fired, as far as I remember, this was like 2 weeks ago. That day they were supposed to be firing the head coach. What's that guy's name? Man. His dad played.
Yes, Walton.
Yeah, Walton. So they were supposed to be firing him that same day when I heard this news, which I'm sure they did. And so now that just leaves Jeannie Buss to make these replacements. And so they have LeBron. They have a handful of quality players that meet all the
Rondo, right?
Yeah, they have a handful of quality players that meet the criteria to go all the way. So was the problem the players, or was the problem the coaching, or was the problem the entire organization was toxic?
I think it's the rest of the Western Conference.
Yeah, it's a hard conference, but
dude.
But I'm saying they got LeBron. They got who people think is the best basketball player ever.
So it is an interesting thing, and I've thought a little bit about this. It's like I didn't expect them to do well in LA.
Didn't even make the playoffs.
I did expect them to make the playoffs, but I did not expect them to live up to hype at all. And my 100% rational and reasoning for that was because it's the Western Conference. You're not going to come into the Western Conference and do what you did in the Eastern Conference. You got you've got the Warriors, the Rockets at a minimum to deal with, and then you've got some satellite teams that are as good as anything he saw, like the Portland Trailblazers, that are kind of in the hunt. They're trying to bottle some lightning this year, kind of thing. But I just didn't see. I didn't see him coming into the West. It's just a crowded conference. In the East, it's like he opened the whole thing up.
So
the Bucks are number one.
So why do I get the cold sweats when I think about the Lakers and what happened to them this year? It's like I'm putting myself in Will Walton,
whatever,
Coach Walton, Mr. Walton. He's not coach now, Mr. Walton. When I put myself in his shoes, I'm getting cold sweats. I'm sitting here thinking, I've been the coach for a few years now. It's like my 4th season or whatever, and we've done garbage every year. And they've given me players left and right. I mean, I've gotten the players I've needed. And they gave me LeBron this year, and I can't even make the playoffs. Can't even make the playoffs. I'm getting fired. It's like I get the cold sweats putting myself in his shoes. Like, what do you think it's like in the locker room? Do you think it's actually high morale? Because they're all professionals. Even the shittiest person on that team is a professional. And it's like, do you think they get in the locker room and they're like, all right, today was a bad game. We lost by 4 points. We've lost a lot of games. And that's the thing. They haven't had a lot of blowouts. They've just lost a lot of games by a handful of points.
I'm going to look this up real quick. But right before the playoffs started, go ahead and keep going.
So they're going to the locker room. Do you think they're sitting around being positive still? They're like, all right, we can do this. Hey, you were over here when you needed to be over here. I was over here when I needed to be over here. See how that guy cut you off? You needed to be one step ahead of where you were. So just remember that next time and just be that one step ahead. Hey, you need to let go of the ball faster. Our passing needs to get quicker. Like all these things. Do you think they're going to the locker room re-strategizing every game and being optimistic? Or do you think they literally just mope back to the locker room and let Walton just give them a talk, he tries to motivate them, and he fails at it, and they all just go home to their mansions and have sex with hot women.
Just like that.
Just like that.
I don't know, man. All right, so look at this here. So the Milwaukee Bucks this year went 60-22. Okay, so they had a .732 win ratio.
So they're average.
And then the Toronto Raptors went .7, and then Golden State, Nuggets, Rockets, Blazers. Oh, this is like the whole league. Dude, they just...
How many games did Golden State lose?
25.
Really?
Yeah, the Bucks and Raptors had a better finish than they did. But it doesn't... The problem with that is you've got Western, Eastern. So the Bucks only played the Warriors twice, whereas... The Warriors had to play the Rockets 4 times.
Curry was out for 10 games or something like that.
You got 4 All-Stars on your starting lineup. You can sit one from time to time.
They were losing games when he was out. The way they play, they all need each other.
Yeah. They make their shots. They open up each other's shots.
Yeah, they play real well together.
So who do you think is going to take the championship this year?
The Warriors.
You think so?
So boring.
You think the Rockets have a shot at it?
Yeah.
What about the two teams? The two teams had better records, the Bucks and the Raptors.
It's going to be the same thing as last year.
Who?
The Warriors are going to edge out the Rockets to go, and then they're going to win the championship.
Who are they going to play against, the Bucks or the Raptors?
Wouldn't it be so ironic if they played against the Cavaliers?
I don't think they made it.
Dude, that'd be so
I'm thinking Bucks. Bucks are number 1 seed. Tom Thibodeau's coaching them. I'm thinking Bucks.
Yeah.
I'm taking Bucks and Warriors in the finals.
It wasn't last year, but it was the season before that it was boring. Honestly, the Warriors were just having a smoking season.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, okay, no one's stopping them, and they just went all the way through. They lost a game. It was like 3-0 in the finals, and they lost the 4th game. So then it had to go to 5 games, and they won, and that was that.
So you asked about the locker room for the Lakers. This is how I envision it. I envision the first half of the season, like literally the first 40 games of the season. They're floating around 500. There's been some injuries, a couple nights sitting out, but everybody's playing pretty hard.
Let's make the best of LeBron.
I bet you they're looking at each other going, all right, we got to pick this up. We got to pick it up. We got to pick it up. That was a little mistake tonight, they're like doing the coaching thing. But then somewhere around that break, when they go on a little 2-game losing streak, it's like, hey.
Like they have a bye week or something.
You got to get in the corner for that 3. You gotta slide
Someone
down.
says something
you
that
gotta
makes someone else pissed.
Yeah, you got to slide down a little farther on that three.
Don't you tell me where to
can't find
slide.
it. Yeah,
Every time we're on defense, I get back way before you, sucker.
that's right. That's right. I'm sprinting every time. You ever heard of an outlet pass?
Where you
ever
at?
heard of an outlet pass? Huh?
Where
Huh?
you at when I'm back on D, huh?
Yeah.
Ain't nowhere to be found.
And then what happens is LeBron goes and talks to the coach by himself, and then the starting lineup changes, and everybody goes, "Did LeBron do that? Was it Walton that did that, or did LeBron go talk to him? Who's coaching?
I believe it was.
Who's coaching this team? LeBron or him?
I believe it was Walton because I watched that game where he changed the lineup, and they were at the
I didn't even
reporter-
know. I'm just hypothesizing.
No, they did. They had a lineup one game where it was all no namers, was all the stringers.
Did they sit the?
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
And they asked him like at halftime, like, well, what's this with this choice? Because he would rotate in names.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all the starters. And I'm watching it like, who are these guys? Never even heard of these people before. Well, I mean, don't even recognize them. And the reporter at halftime was like, what's the strategy here? And he's like, I'm putting people in that want to play.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He's like, people want to play, I'll put them in.
People who want to play.
Yeah, get some heart out there. It's like, we need some heart. Dude, so honestly, I don't even know all the details, but I want to side with the coach.
Well, I think halfway through the season they start sliding, and then it starts being a locker room problem. It starts being someone's dropping the ball, someone lets somebody else down. Then they start looking at each other for practice, who's showing up early, who's not.
Dude, being the coach is not about being a coach because the head coach doesn't do a ton. I don't know. Basketball's different. Like in the NFL, the coach doesn't really coach.
Some of them do.
He pretty much just keeps everyone
He's the
in
CEO.
line. He's the CEO. He has to make sure everyone's making the product as fast as possible because the defense coordinator, the offense coordinator, the special teams coordinator, they get the game won.
But in the NBA, you're supposed to listen to your coach. I mean, he's supposed to be able to call plays.
There's an assistant coach.
Yeah, but I'm saying the coach is the coach. Like
yeah, he's the end all.
You got 5 players on
Buck
the floor.
stops with him.
Yeah, the buck stops with you, and it should be that way. LeBron has been known for being hard on coaches. He's been known for, like Spoelstra was a young new coach, and he walked all over Spoelstra. He did I respect you as long as you coach
Last
the way
year
I want.
when Steve Kerr
he got
was
Ty
letting
Lue.
he was letting all the guys coach the team.
Yeah.
So they would come back, sit on the bench, they'd all pull out the whiteboard and on their own. He's like, I'm gonna let them coach for a while, and they were doing really good at it. And then they panned over to the Cavaliers coach. He's like, you think I'm going to let LeBron do that? He already makes me look like a fool. And everyone thinks I'm not coaching the team as it is.
That's right. Yeah, Ty Lue.
Yeah. And it's like you got Steph Curry and all the other guys sitting down
With
like
a clipboard.
working as a friendly team. They're like, all right, you go here. All right, you see that? You got to be right there. I'm going to trust that you're there.
With just being on the floor, they're in range. That team.
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to trust you're there. You better be there when I'm ready. And they're just there. It's like a team they trust.
Yeah.
So I was going over John Wick 3's training.
Okay.
So Keanu Reeves was doing some training with some Navy SEALs, a Navy SEAL at Vigilance Elite. And I was watching it. So when you're doing room clearing, this just speaks to teamwork. When you're doing room clearing, you have a handful of guys usually. If you're on your own, that's just a shit deal. You go in. You
Start pulling the trigger.
You just go in.
Come in hot.
Yeah, like there's going to be blind corners you can't clear. Well, no. So the doorway is your pinch point on every entry and exit. The door is where people kill you because that's where they expect. That's where you come through.
That's where you can come through the side. They can get you from the side.
Well, that's just where the bad guys
I get it.
are pointing their guns
Yeah.
at the door. That's where the good guys are coming. We're going to kill them when they come in.
Yeah.
So he's trying to teach Keanu Reeves how to actually get in, and it's just teamwork when you have your team with you because you leave corners uncleared because you can't clear the whole room on your own.
Because you count on your guy behind you or the
count
guy
on
in
the
front of
second
you.
person to get their corner, and then so on down the line. So the first guy actually clears like 80% of the room on entry because of the way he sweeps. But there's still, if it's not a perfectly square room, then you would rely on other people to help clear. But on a perfectly rectangular square room, which has 4 corners in it, the first guy, depending on whether he wants to go right or left, clears like 80% of the room because of the way he has to fan to go to one side or the other. But there's always the corners on the inside. So you're relying on your team member to be there. Like that, to me, is a lesson that a lot of professional sports athletes that have to work together as a team could learn is like, you're not just talking about like points here. You're talking about life. Like, I'm relying on the guy behind me to actually clear the corner that I'm going to blindly look past because I can't clear it because I've got 3 other corners in the room that I have to glance past and make sure there's no threats.
You know, when you say stuff like that, it just brings back into focus why it is we have team sports.
Yeah.
Like there's the why it is, which is just we operate as social people, but then there's in our defense and in our looking for food, you do a lot of the same things. You got to be able to depend on the guy you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
Like
cops go through the same thing.
It all starts with teamwork. It all starts with the way you interacted on a sport court when you were a kid, taking directions from the coach who's not the one playing the game, right? He's not the one in there. It's like there's so many parallels and lessons, man.
It sucks, though, when you get given a shitty team member or a shitty partner because it's like you can't trust them. I watch this.
That's why you try to work all that stuff out in training and practice.
I watch this a cop shooting. I watch a lot of cop shootings, so I like to see the good and the bad ones. I watched this one that I would consider bad. A guy got pulled over for no seatbelt, arguing with the cop for minutes on end, and the cop finally says, all right, you're going to jail, because the guy doesn't want to give up his license to go run his plates and all that. So it's like, you're doing all this over a seatbelt ticket. If you give me your driver's license, I'll go back to my car, I'll run you, I'll write you a $15 ticket and bring it back. He's like, this is fucking bullshit, cussing the cop out. Dude, he was so patient. Finally, he's like, fine, you're going to jail, sir. Long story short, as he's trying to get him out of the car to go to jail, the female officer that's his backup or his partner, I think it's his backup, comes to the passenger side to make sure everything's okay. The officer gets in an altercation, a physical altercation with the subject. They go to the ground, and the subject is kind of winning. But, when you see 2 people get in a fight, it doesn't mean just because you're on the bottom you're losing. Mm-hmm. So before the cop even gets a chance to get into a defensive position, like maybe pull guard or get up and try to turn around because he's taking hits from up above, the female officer has already come around the front of the vehicle and shoots the guy.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm bothered by it because I'm okay with shooting bad guys. I'm even okay with shooting a guy beating the shit out of a cop if he's mortally beating him. Like you catch him just beating his brains in. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just shoot the dude. But the fight had only escalated for like 3 or 4 seconds, and she shoots the guy, and the cop doesn't say anything, like the guy that's getting the fight, but it was almost like he was about to say, like, God damn it, what are you doing? Like, I was like, she just shot him for beating up a cop, but the other cop wasn't down and out. He wasn't even knocked out. He wasn't dazed. It was he could have handled himself a little longer. Probably. He probably could have gotten to a clinch, held the guy off. I understand that guy could have had weapons. He could have had knives. He could have had guns in his waistband. All those things. I just thought the shooting happened so quick that if that was me on the ground, I would have looked back at the lady officer and been like, "What the hell are you doing?"
You and I have gone back and forth on cop videos a couple different times.
You can't just shoot someone.
I know.
That's different because there's 2 of them. If he was alone and he would have gotten, because he was on his hands and knees while the other guy was hovered over him trying to take shots at him. If he would have pulled his weapon and got onto like a turtle, onto his back and just fired a shoot at him, I'd have been okay with it. You're getting attacked. Yeah. And this dude has you. I'd have been okay with that. But when there's 2 cops just shooting a guy, that's like shooting fish in a barrel.
So it's crazy. But they were
being attacked.
Okay, so you contrast that with that Vegas one, the hotel shooting.
He was alone. That's why I'm not on that guy's side. I don't think he should be a cop anymore. But I really believe.
Are you talking about the guy that shot the guy with the pants falling down that was crawling up the hall? He wasn't alone. He was in a stack of SWAT guys in the hall. There was a bunch of them.
When he shot that dude, there were other cops.
There were other people yelling next to him that were yelling too.
I thought he was alone waiting for backup.
Nope. He was. They were clearing, and then they encountered him. No, he was. Oh, he had guys.
I thought he was alone. Regardless, we've already had this conversation.
That was why
we've already had this conversation ad nauseum. I don't think he should have went to jail.
But that was why I couldn't figure out why he didn't just cover me and then go handcuff the guy, because he totally could have. So with this lady that, the female cop shoots the guy who's started to fight with the other cop.
Instead of getting in a
this
physical...
is one of those like zero tolerance areas where it's like you don't altercate with a police officer. When you put your hands...
No one's going to be in trouble for this, and I wouldn't even advocate...
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't even advocate she loses her job. I wouldn't advocate she gets reprimanded. I would advocate...
She has no idea. You come up on your partner and he's in a scuffle. If
that guy on the ground was knocked out, she's next.
Yeah.
Because let's just be honest.
Let's just be honest.
Let's just be honest. No woman, and it doesn't matter if the guy's black or not, but he was black, but he was very athletic and lean. Dude, he's swinging with fists of lightning, man, just fast as hell.
The point is, I definitely am on the side of the moment you make contact with a police officer, you have signed your death warrant.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether or not you make it or not is now just up to
You're fighting. You're not fighting.
It's up to the old gods
fight.
and the new. But as far as your death warrant, you signed it when you put your hands on a cop.
No, I agree. It's just, to me, it was a little quick because there was an opportunity to detain the guy with physical force because they made the decision they made. I personally, if I was the guy,
it's hard. Yeah.
If it is hard, if I was the cop that was getting beat up, because from what I saw, he wasn't out, he wasn't knocked out, he wasn't dazed, he just had lost his footing, and the guy, what's it called in wrestling? He suplexed, like he reverse slammed him.
Yeah,
he got him from the waist from behind and slammed him, but the guy was fine. He didn't like do it really hard because the guy had his balance off, and they kind of went sideways as he did it. But I'm like, if I was that guy. It's kind of an ego thing. Like, I'd almost want, just give me a second. Just give me 10, 20 seconds.
To get my feet back on. Yeah, to get
and I'll get this guy and we'll arrest him. Just give me 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, you can help. Jump in on it.
So the guy died, obviously?
Probably. He went limp as soon as they shot him.
Oh, yeah. It's, dude.
I get addicted to that stuff. I like watching it because, dude, I was born to be a cop. I just wasn't born to take really shitty phone calls about like my neighbor did this and the HOA said we have to do this and we need a cop to come enforce this HOA rule and like, sir, will you please mow your lawn?
Most of what cops do does look pretty. We'll use the word boring. Although really most of what everybody does is pretty boring when you really look at it.
I guess it would depend on where you live. If you're an LA cop, I bet you see action every single day.
I bet they don't.
I bet every
but it's
day
the numbers.
you're tackling a dude hyped up on PCP.
So Dan Bongino was a cop in New York City, and there were 5,000 police officers. There's only 300 muggings a day. Like there
were 5,000 cops, but isn't there like in New York? Isn't there like 23 million people?
Yeah, but I'm saying like even with those numbers. When you start looking at it, it was like, oh, you only like an average cop, and I'm just throwing these numbers out there, but the average cop in New York City, even though there's all that crazy stuff going on, still the odds are you're only going to get in a foot chase once a year. Now you might be the cop that does it 5 times this year, but there's other cops who don't even get.
I would say every cop getting in a foot chase once a year, that's still decent. That still gives you a reason as a cop.
I'm totally making that up, but
it doesn't sound unreal. It doesn't sound crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It still gives you a purpose as a cop. Like, hey, I can't get fat.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to eventually chase someone. And what if I'm actually chasing someone that turns on me? I can't be out of wind by the time I catch them and I can't breathe.
There was another one of those.
Dude, what about that cop? What about that cop here in Kitsap County? That Kitsap County sheriff that we see every now and then. I always see him over here at the gas station.
That's overweight, really overweight.
His flak vest that they wear, because they wear...
He's busting out of it.
It looks like he's wearing a little kid's T-shirt.
I was just going to say...
It just sits on him.
I was just going to say, the moment you become a police officer or military, you have given up your right to be fat.
Yes, you have.
Like, it is offensive to me. It is offensive to me as a United States citizen, as a Washingtonian, as a citizen of Kitsap County...
That person represents...
That there is a police officer, a law enforcement official that is so overweight that he couldn't engage in a foot chase with my 8-year-old. Like, it bothers me that we have like men in blue that have to put their seat all the way back and still their belly touches. Like, to me, it's like, how I don't understand.
So
what you're telling me is that you prioritize filling out paperwork more than you prioritize enforcing law.
So when I was a police explorer, there was this cop that they put on bike patrol every summer in Meridian to help him lose weight, and it was like a mutual thing. Like, hey, I need to lose weight.
Yeah,
he was huge, 300 plus, and they'd put him on a bike every summer.
It doesn't help. It's not
for the summer. It would. I mean, he would lose some weight because he's pedaling around for a 10-hour shift.
Yeah,
but the point is I don't remember exactly, but it was like in Meridian you had to run a mile and a half or 2 miles, and the pace wasn't crazy. It was like 10 minutes a mile or something like that.
Yeah.
There's no way that guy was doing that. There's no way in hell. You had to do like 37 push-ups
So I actually
I
think
bet that dude couldn't do 10 push-ups.
I think those standards are bogus. I could go out right now and we could walk a mile in 12 minutes. I've told you this story a million times.
They're
about
not bogus based off age, because as you do get 50, 60 years old.
I know, but I'm just saying I can go out right now and walk one. I expect to be able to walk a mile under 12 minutes well into my 60s.
Oh, yeah, 12 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So now we go, what does it take to go from 12 to 10? So if 10 is the
A
cutoff.
shuffle.
Exactly. You ain't busting any bad guys with a shuffle at a 10-minute mile pace. I'm sorry.
Here's my problem.
Take the mile off the requirements if that's what you're going to do, and just make it a 40-yard dash.
So this is just totally oh crap. It's probably because I don't read books that I lose my vocabulary so often. What's it called when you want to apply a rule to something just because you're good or bad at it? Like you just
selective. You apply it selectively.
That's not what I was thinking, but I'm being well, that's when someone does something and they're only doing it because you know they want to, or they're good at it or whatever. You're like, oh, it starts with a C. Oh, that's well. Anyways,
leave it in the comments.
The push up thing. Yep. And most agencies, you got to do somewhere between 30 and 40 to max out and get like 100%. I know right now I'm fresh. I know I could do 40 push-ups. I'd probably do all 30 without breaking, and then I'd have to do without stopping. My hands would still be on the ground. I wouldn't drop, I'd still be in the push-up position. I could do 40. Now, that's really hard, though. That's not that many push-ups. In the Army, I did 80. You had to do like 77 or something like that to max out, and I'd always max out, which is crazy to me because I can barely do 40 now. But I can bench 250. So it's like that's not a fair gauge on how many push-ups I can do because I weigh 230 pounds. So I can do 40 push-ups and it's hard, and then a 160-pound person could do 40 push-ups and it's hard for them. They're like, well, if it was hard for them and it was hard for me, but I've got 70 pounds on that dude, like, what's the point of this? Is this to make sure we're safe during an altercation, like we can physically handle ourselves? Or is it to make sure we look a certain way as a cop? Like, what is the rule? What is the physical standards for? I thought I didn't even consider them being for aesthetics. I considered them being for safety. Like, if you're going to get into an altercation with a guy, you need to be able to do X amount of push-ups, sit-ups, and run a certain distance and sprint a certain speed. So,
I don't know. I mean, it seems ridiculous to me. Like, push-ups are that percentage of your body weight if you're doing them at the right angle.
It's like 60-something% of your body weight.
So it's like a perfect metric. And I don't know. That stuff.
Yeah, but think about it. If a 160-pound runner could barely do 40 push-ups, but I could also barely do 40 push-ups, but I got 70 pounds on them. I mean, okay, I just think about it. Like when I do deadlifts, I don't know what my max is, but I know I could do 405 a couple times. So my max is probably somewhere around 420, 425. If I get into an altercation as a cop with someone and they're resisting arrest, and I'm immediately going to spin on them and try to get them from behind, and they weigh 200 pounds, I'm going to throw those guys into heaven.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to just get them from the rear, and they're going down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not to mention, I weigh 230 pounds. I'm not even in shape. I'm 230 pounds of like 40 pounds of fat. And I could do about 8 pull-ups. So not to mention the grip I can get on those dudes from behind. They're not getting away. I got them.
Unless they're 230 pounds.
They're going on
4 pounds of fat.
They're going unconscious. Old boy's going unconscious. And then I'm slapping the cuffs on while they're just lifeless. And they're going to come to, and I'm going to say something catchy like some Pacific Northwest thing. I'm going to be like, guess today wasn't your day.
April showers bring May flowers.
Looks like there's no May flowers in your forecast.
Looks like you're getting off the Christmas list because you've been naughty.
I'm going to say something like that. Be like, Man, yeah, the best one's probably like, looks like there's no flowers in your forecast, buddy. There's no flowers. The only place there's gonna be flowers is where the sun isn't shining.
No, this is what will happen. The guy wakes up. He's handcuffed. He'll look at you and you'll go, and he'll go, hey, and you'll go, there's jail in your future, buddy.
Choking on with some stupid
You
one-liner.
got flowers in jail,
Ugh,
buddy.
Suplexed in flowers.
Suplex flowers.
Yeah.
Take luck and
I'd
care for it if you
Fudge
get
it. I'd fudge it all up. As soon as I'd say it, I'd be like, oh, man, I need to take one-liners class. Dude, and all those silly one-liners came from it's CIS or crime scene CSI. It came from CSI Miami or whatever. The dude with the red hair.
Yeah.
And he'd be on a crime scene in the beginning of the show and find someone dead and be like, it'd be like a surfer or something and be like, looks like they've caught their last wave. Throw on a pair of sunglasses.
And then it would start the intro music.
Yeah, it would start the intro music.
Looks like they've caught their last wave. How would you like to have the writing job where it's like, what's your job? I got to sit all week, look at the storyline, and come up with the catchphrase to start off the...
It'd be hard.
Looks like there's no surfing into his future.
Yeah. Be like, there's going to be like a bar of wax laying on the beach. It'll be like, it's the last time he's ever going to wax anything. It's not waxing his future. Dun, dun, dun. Dude, so out of all those shows, all those shows are popular, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not into them at all.
Oh, I used to love watching them, but my wife hates them.
Dude, my wife loves to watch the one Special Victims Unit.
Love it.
And it's like John Mulaney does the best bit about Ice-T. He's like, wait, so you're telling me...
there's kids that like to... Men that like to do it with kids? Yeah. That's cold or whatever. That's messed up.
You got it, Ice-T. Wait, you're telling me he likes to get naked and do things with kids' bum holes?
With the furry?
Can't let one get by you, Ice-T. Wait, aren't you supposed to be in the Special Victims Unit? Yes. There's people out there that do these things. Absolutely.
You work with them every week. Every
Yeah.
episode.
Why do you keep asking these questions?
I think my favorite thing about Ice-T is how he used to be like some tough rapper.
Yeah.
And then he ends up being like this mainstream drama actor, like TV drama actor.
Like Ice Cube.
Yeah, not Ice-T, Ice Cube, yeah.
Well, they're both the same way.
Are they? Yeah, well, yeah, but one of them...
You know they're two different people, right?
Yes.
They're not like a drink.
Okay, Ice-T is the one on NCIS.
Ice-T.
Ice-T.
Not iced tea.
Ice-T.
Iced tea.
Now, what's the other one?
Arnie Palmer? Or is it an Arnold Palmer?
No, what's the other one?
Ice Cube.
Now, he's the one who was in that Are We There Yet with the
Yeah.
Lincoln Navigator. I know the difference. Okay, I'm messing their names up. But
so he started with the NWA.
Yes.
Ninjas with Attitude. Then he went on. This is just what I think his history is. I'm sure I could go IMDb him.
More
and find out everything he
90s
did.
music success.
He did some rapping, which I listened to some of it. I got some of the songs on my iTunes right now.
Hey, man, is that like Hillary Clinton and hot sauce in her bag all the time? Are you pandering right now? Are you pandering by saying, you're a country boy?
I'm just saying, he's got some good music. Then he does Friday, and then he does like Friday 2, 3. I think there's 4 Fridays, or all the other Fridays suck.
Which
Friday
are pretty
1
much a comedy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. They're all funny. They're all funny, but the first one's the best. Then he goes on to do like huge movies. Friday was
But
big.
they're like family movies, right? Like,
Most of them are, yeah.
yeah.
You know, he was in 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street.
That's right. And then he was kind of more of a cameo in that one, right? Kind of playing his own, or his...
He played a pretty main character. He was their boss.
Playing the cop, yeah.
And then,
then
he played Are We There Yet? I almost said Snakes on a Plane, but at the fear of being like, do we all look the same? Because Samuel L. Jackson got confused for Morgan Fish.
That's
Lawrence Fishburne or Fishman.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
The Matrix actor, the black guy in the Matrix.
I don't know who that is, but okay. I know who he is, but they got mistaken, really?
By an interviewer like
Now, I could mistake Morgan Freeman and Samuel L. Jackson in character. Some of the characters Samuel L. Jackson has,
Lawrence Fishburne.
I could misidentify Morgan Freeman on a glimpse.
Morgan Freeman?
And Samuel L. Jackson in certain characters, like the character he plays on
Are you
Django.
blind?
I'm not blind.
They don't look the same at all.
The character that Samuel L. Jackson plays on Django Unchained, when his hair gets all tall like that, on a glance, I could easily mistake.
You're talking about the House Ninja.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And
Some of the
Jamie Foxx is Django.
Yes. Some of the characters Samuel L. Jackson plays, I could mistake for Morgan Freeman without.
You know what's
looking at
crazy is I can only think of a couple movies Morgan Freeman's in. He's in Dreamcatcher. He's in Batman. He's on every TV show on the History Channel, Discovery Channel, TLC. He does narration for all of them. What other movies has he been in? Oh, he did one, Bucket List. He did Bucket List with Jack Nicholson.
it. Never waste a good boner.
What?
That's one of the lines in there. Never waste a good boner.
On Bucket List?
Yeah.
All right, Ice Cube movies. Friday.
I want iced tea. I'm interested in iced tea. I don't care about
Yeah,
Ice Cube.
he's got a lot less movies. He's more of a rapper, TV actor.
Iced Tea is the one who became
Yeah.
like a mainstream
Ice.
drama actor.
Iced Tea.
Ice.
All right,
Tea.
Grandpa. Ice-T is in New Jack City. He was also in Surviving the Game, which is an amazing movie where he gets hunted. He was a homeless person gets hunted. You would like it. You might not like it, but it's not a bad movie. Tank Girl, never saw it, but I think it was in '95. I remember that one being all right. Word on the Street. Art of Rap, never heard of it. Trespass, never heard of it. Breakin', never heard of it. Let's just assume everything I'm about to say I've never heard of. Well, Johnny Mnemonic, Mnemonic, Leprechaun in the Hood, wow, Mean Guns, 3,000 Miles to Graceland, Breakin' 2. Oh, there was Breakin' up there. Yeah, Breakin' and Breakin' 2. It looks like it's breakdancing. Below Utopia. Dude, it goes on and on. I mean, he must have been in 3, 1,
got
2,
a good
3,
agent.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 40 movies.
He's got a good agent, man.
Yeah.
Ice Tea. That's not Ice Cube. That's Ice.
That's Ice-T.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Wait, you mean to tell me that guys are getting off on girls eating poop? Yep. You're in the special victims unit. Surprised you haven't come across this yet. 2 Girls, 1 Cup, ring a bell? He's like, oh, yeah. That's right. Wait, you're the guy supposed to be fighting the bad guy?
Dude, that bit is so funny.
Okay. And then Ice Cube. That guy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're clear here.
No, I'm totally clear on the two of them. I named.
I thought you were very clear until I heard Iced Tea.
Well, I'm.
Slip of the tongue.
Well, I'm just not. I know they're both ice.
All the rappers' names sound the same to you?
Well, when your name is Ice.
Hey, that's way better than like
So
Lil
there's-
Tay or Lil Nas.
So there's Ice Tea and Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there an Ice X or an Ice Circle or
Ice. There is.
That's
There's
it?
a Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice?
Which is appropriate.
And he also went by Nilly Vanilli, correct?
Millie.
Nilly Vanilli? Vanilla Ice?
Millie Vanilla.
I don't know. Let's wrap this up. All right. Acre of the Boo, it was good to have you with us today.
Yeah. We'll be back.